Hi, it's Rob again. So the third part of my little look at Symstudio. Last time we were looking at a little application called Picture, which we showed off on the MSX at the end of the video, which is a picture slider program, and we saw Symstudio and how a little bit of the code inside. I just want to go into the code a bit more and show you a bit of the actual coding in Symstudio, without going into depth, but just show you a little of what it's capable of doing. Obviously we have these pictures here, and I showed you through this was sheet number 6, which was that image of this lady here. Kudos to anybody who knows who she actually is. But leave a comment if you know who she is. It'd be interesting to think. Wonder if you actually do. Right, so you can see we can actually change the sheet number that we want to have displayed here by changing the sheet number there. So if I move that up to, say, number 10, is that the same thing? Yes, it is, probably. I'll just move it down to, I don't know what sheet 5 is. Let's move just down to 5. Oh, that's Natalie Imbruglia. So there you go. As I said earlier, this little number underneath this sheet number here, which says 1, is actually the indication of which graphic format you're going to use for that tile or sheet. So currently 1 is 16 color mode. As you can see, if I actually change that down to 0, that changes to the 4 color mode. They tie in exactly, so Symboss can actually convert a 16 color mode image into a 4 color image. Obviously it can't convert the other way because it just remains 4 colors, but it can actually convert very easily a 16 color image into a 4 color image. There we go, there's Natalie Imbruglia, probably more orange than she's ever been before in her life, but she spent too long on the tanner, and that's what she looks like now. Anyway, let's have a look at the code. Here, I just want to show you. We've just been through. We just had a look at all the sheets and how we embed them onto the disk, and how you load them afterwards. Let's just click on the main loop, because I just want to show you some of the coding of Symstudio. It is in effect a version of BASIC, and it is compiled, so it runs very quickly in Symboss, but it is a version of BASIC, and it is based pretty much on object orientated design, and it is meant to be very, very similar to Visual Basic, although it's obviously caters for Symboss directly. So it's not like Visual Basic, but it is like Visual Basic. That's the basic premise of it. So if I click, the first thing here is a function. It's called check side buttons, and if I go back into the form, you can see there's 3 side buttons that I'm actually referring to there. There's the play button, the menu button, and the quit button. So if I click back into the code, if I go there, I can see that down there, so I can actually select it there and it will go automatically there. So here, first thing you'll see, there's a play toggle, which basically there are 4 settings for this. One which is play, but it's not highlighted. 2, play that is highlighted. The next one would be stop, and that isn't highlighted, and then stop that is highlighted. So if I look over there, so if play toggle is lesser than 2, that means it's either 0 or 1. I then check if mouse over the play image ID. So if I click back on the form, you can see there, if I click on that, that's name play image. So that's what we're looking. If the mouse will pass over that, it will flag that up. So if the mouse is over that, then, and if play toggle equals 0, which means it's doing nothing, it will toggle to 1, and it will set the object graphic that we're looking at of this play image on this sheet called logo, which if I move back onto the form here, I can show you that logo there is logo sheet, which if we look at the logo sheet and we scroll right up to the top, we've loaded in logo sheet there, which was sheet number 12 in 16 colours. So if I click on sheet, I can see sheet number 12. If I click there, you can see they're set into tiles, long tiles, so there's 3 in each row, and there's sort of the 3 columns, and there's sort of they are like they are. So we can see that tile 1, 0 is picture, tile 2 is slider, 3 quit, 4 quit is darkened, and you know, so we've got 2 versions of play, 2 versions of quit, 2 versions of stop, and 2 versions of menu. So if I click back into my code, and click back on check buttons, so I can see if it will set the toggle to 1 if I'm over the top of the actual play image and I'm not playing the game. It will click to number 5, tile number 5, which is the darkened play, and if I'm also click the mouse at the same time as I'm over it, it will then call the start game function. So similarly here, if it's toggled 1 already, which it would be if I'm over it, it will then automatically toggle back to 0, which means it goes back to the lighter play, and it will and that object refresh just refreshes that particular object, that thing that says play or stop. Similarly, we got the other part here, which is when you're actually in game, showing the stop part, which is tiles 7 and 6, darkened and light versions of the word stop in graphics, as you can see. I click there they are. There you can see just after the play, so that's number 6 and 7. So back into the code, and it does similar things for the menus, which will actually loading a new picture, which is the get picture function there. So if I click on get picture, that's where you can see that if picture is 0, it will load in the various background for each one. So, and each time you do that, if I go back to that, check side buttons, if I scroll down to there, you'll see that each time I do that, it'll increase the picture number by 1, and if it's greater than 8, it will go back to 0. So when I go to the get pictures, the picture would have been increased by 1, it will load in the correct sheet, and then it will set up all the stuff there. Setting the object position of each tile, and we also have an internal grid variable so that it knows that as well. So really you can see that it is a fully fledged version of BASIC with functions, and functions which do callbacks, so they return values in either strings or ints or floats or whatever. So it is actually very, very powerful as basics go. It's not like the old 8-bit basics. It's a bit more advanced than that. So I'm just scrolling slowly through, so you can see some of the things it does. It's actually quite a simple program, and pretty easy to follow. I hope. I should have noted it up a bit more, but there you go. That's the picture puzzle game, and I won't be saying any more on this. If you want to have a look at the demo, please do, and try and work out how it works, and try and break it if you want, and don't forget to try and work out who the lady is that I pointed out earlier. And the next time I will be starting a tutorial on starting a new project and looking at all the commands, slowly going through it. Okay, thank you for watching. That's it until next time.